Good morning, everyone. Today we welcome Mr. Edwin Figueroa. He's going to be speaking to us in regards to what it's like to be a mechanical engineer, how he came into this role, what did his career path entail, any education he obtained, as well as what are some highs and lows within the field. Also, he will share the impact COVID-19 has had within his role in industry. We ask that you mute all lines and please address any questions or comments within the chat box. Thank you so much, Edwin. We appreciate having you here today.
Well, good morning, everyone. Like Raquel said, my name is Edwin Figueroa, and uh, I'm a mechanical engineer by degree. I work for Dow Chemical, and Dow Chemical, I work as a maintenance engineer, and pass on the next one. So for Dow Chemical, I work as a maintenance engineer. It's a chemical company. It's got facilities all over the Gulf Coast, some in North US and Europe as well. Now, just to get straight to the point, we're here to talk about the best engineering, which is mechanical engineering. I'm sure y'all heard from different people before about some other engineering fields. I want to say that mechanical engineering is probably the best one in the world because that's what I like and that's what I enjoy doing now. Let's go through why mechanical engineering. I tried to do this as simple as possible, and I put comments in here of things that I learned about mechanical engineering when I was in the process of making my decision for my career path. Now, mechanical engineering has a pretty wide range of opportunities to work for. Now, you can go to work for the pharmaceutical industry, biotechnology, which is embedded on it. You can work in the medical devices industry. You can work in the aviation industry, food industry, chemical industry, oil and gas, and many other industrial manufacturing companies, right? Like manufacturing cars, boats, trucks, etc. And electronic devices like computers, phones, servers, like servers where Facebook is located at, right? Facebook is all on servers. So you, as a mechanical engineer, you can even work on some of those equipments or the manufacturing process of those equipments. Now, with that being said, this is just a short list. There is a huge range of things that I'm probably not covering here, but mechanical engineering is very open. You can even work from a support role, trying to understand what went wrong on each of these industries. You can work on customer service from a technical standpoint. You can work on the design part of these businesses as well, trying to build new plants or new medical devices, research and development. You can work in the aviation industry on maintenance, on design, on manufacturing. There's a very wide range of opportunities within mechanical engineering. Now, back in 2010, when I was in college, I remember having the questions of, is this the right career? Is this the right thing to do? Is this what I will really enjoy? And I started going to info sections in college. I started listening to some other engineering students and their opinions. And I decided mechanical engineering was the best option for my personal interest, right? This all depends on each of us. Now, before we move on, I did not include some notes about it in here, but I had no idea what mechanical engineering was until I was in college. So when I was in college in my first year, I still had some kind of idea of what a mechanical engineer was, but I had no one ever came and talked to me about something like this. These are all the options you can go to. It was not up to my second year in college where I started having some classes and some questions. So what's really about mechanical engineering, trying to find out what the mechanical engineering per se was like. So that's when this all started. So I'm very happy to say that if you pursue this career, keep this in mind. And I'm very happy to say you will have a lot of opportunities, a lot of different industries that you can work on, and a lot of different things you can do throughout the years. Now, what do you need exactly to become a mechanical engineer? Typically in the States, it's a 4-year program. I'm original from Puerto Rico, from the Caribbean. It's a USA territory, right? But it's former Spanish colony. So our program is actually a 5-year program. It's a little bit longer. It's got a little bit more classes. So I took electrical engineering classes. I took some industrial engineering classes. But I believe most of the programs in the United States are the same way, just are a little bit more intense because they're putting everything in 4 years instead of 5 years. Mine was a little bit more diluted that way. Now, just to become a mechanical engineer, you just need to go to college and get the degree. That's pretty much it. Now, during college, you will want to do internships. These internships are gonna help you to make a good choice of what your career path or your future is gonna be like at the time, right? As an engineering student, I had 5 different internships. I worked in a plastic company. I worked in an engineering company. I worked in a pharmaceutical company. I worked on research and development for air conditioning, and I worked for Dow Chemical as well. Now, with that being said, I know by the time you're in college, you will want to graduate as soon as possible. And many people say, no, I want to graduate and start making money. I'll be very honest with you. That's important and that's good. But try to invest some of your time in college, no matter if you extend your graduation a little bit more and you probably don't go to your graduation ceremony with your friends that you started in college with, but try to get some experience. Try to go off on a semester and try to go to the industry and do the actual work of a mechanical engineer or whatever other engineer, and expose yourself to the industry before you graduate. This will give you a little bit more background, a little bit more understanding of what the career you're on is like, and it will give you a good perspective. So in my experience, I picked here the 3 top experiences I went through, and I have to be very honest, the 3 of them changed the way I even thought about mechanical engineering. So is CMA Architects and Engineers is a company that I worked on in Puerto Rico as a student. And actually, when I graduated, I went over there on Monday, and they just gave me work with no interview, no nothing. Of course, they met me before because I was an intern with them. But it's a company where I had the opportunity to work with architects and engineers, like civil engineers, electrical engineers, and environmental engineers, on a lot of different projects related to hotels. I think I worked in a hospital one time. I worked in an industrial pharmaceutical process and a different commercial construction or design process. So now that was a really good experience that taught me that there is a huge technical field behind many of the things we see out on the streets, right? Sometimes we go to HEB, we don't even think about it. I do now because I know it, but whoever designed that HEB had to work with a mechanical engineer to design all the air conditioning, all the fire protection system, and all the good stuff. That's all mechanical engineering, and it's behind the scenes. Now, I worked in Amgen Manufacturing Limited. This is a biotechnology company. Many of the products that this company make today are intended for cancer. I think the majority of them are intended for cancer disease. Now, it was a very grateful opportunity, at least to contribute with my mechanical engineering background in this industry, because this is a very unfortunate medical condition, and I had the opportunity to actually work with supply of these products. I was working in a warehouse. Now, what was a mechanical engineer doing working in a warehouse? Well, that tells you the wide range that I was telling you all about of mechanical engineering. Now, as a mechanical engineer, you'll be highly trained to solve problems. And many of these companies, they will have a lot of needs, and they will prefer to hire a mechanical engineer or chemical engineer or industrial engineer. Typically, those are the roles they try to, the backgrounds they try to fit into their roles, because they will bring in different skill set to solve problems. Now, the other company that I wanted to talk to y'all about is the Dow Chemical. So back in 2015, I had the opportunity to do an internship with Dow, which is my current employer, and I do enjoy what I do every day. And honestly, Dow is more technical. It's a more technical environment than the warehouse that I worked on, the pharmaceutical company, and it's even a little bit more technical than the environment I worked on, the engineering company. But all of them has a similar thing or a common thing in here, and it's that on the 3 different jobs, I was responsible for solving problems, and that's all about mechanical engineering, is trying to come down to a solution on a problem and try to fix it. Now, that was my case, and this 3 particular internships that were part of my school career were key to prepare me as a professional. Now, what can you do right out of college with an engineering degree? Like entry level jobs and salaries. I think that's a very important thing to do, actually. So there's plenty of opportunities. All the companies, all the industries that I talked to you all about, there's plenty of entry level opportunities for any mechanical engineer. I've worked in a warehouse, I've worked in design, I've worked on support role on a plant today, but you know, that's kind of a very open, wide range of opportunities there. Now, what about the salary? I'll be very honest, when I was in college, I had the curiosity to know how much an engineer could make. Y'all have the opportunity to go to the internet today and Google search average salary for a mechanical engineer. And there is actually pretty good resources from the USA government, and there is other from different companies that do this for a living. But there is a lot of salaries. Salaries depend on the industry. Salaries depend on the location where you live. It is an important thing to know, but typically for any engineer, they're pretty good. You can have a pretty good lifestyle. You can live well. I can't afford buying a Porsche 911 Carrera S, which is a car that I like a lot. But sure, I live well. I can pay my house. I can pay my bills. I can eat well. I can go out. I can enjoy my life, right? And this is what this is all about. Now, the salaries will get better one day. If you're worried about it today, you know, with experience, you keep on moving up the ladder, and you'll get compensated a little bit different within time to time. Now, the salary honestly depends on each of us and how much we're willing to learn, how much we're willing to do, and how much we're really willing to invest. Now, there's a pretty good article that I found when I was preparing for this section. The newspaper, the magazine or newspaper, I don't even know if they even print out everything today, but Forbes has a pretty good article showing the average of mechanical engineers across different states, right? Texas is pretty much one of the top ones with $105,000 a year on average for a mechanical engineer. Now, this is considering the salary average from people that started yesterday to people that's been working in this industry for 30, 35 years. Now, just think about it, right? Maybe if you do the math and you make an assumption here, you'll be somewhere around $100,000 within 15, 20 years of experience, or it all depends, like I said, on the things you're willing to do. Now, this is not the most important thing that you need to think about, but I did wanted to bring it up because myself, I had no idea what the salary pay or the base salary of a mechanical engineer was back when I was in college. The most important thing when it comes to salary that I will honestly tell you is that you need to enjoy what you do. If you don't enjoy, if you don't have that type of work that you actually get up in the morning, early in the morning, get there and have a good time from the time you start working to the time you leave, no matter how much money you make, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be nice for you. I can assure you that. You have to enjoy it. It has to be a job that you like, and it matches your emotional intelligence as well, which is another topic. But but always seek for that, right? Keep in mind that you need to enjoy what you do. You need to enjoy the people that you work with and the environment where you work at. So all of that things are gonna influence the salary and the entry level position that you're gonna get as well. Now, day-to-day at Dow. So I'm a maintenance engineer. I think the easier way to explain it is to solve problems. That's a primary role of a maintenance engineer. So are things working well? No. Okay, then the maintenance engineer will help to try to fix it. This doesn't mean you need to know everything. This means you need to be willing to learn, listen, find the person that knows in most of the cases, and try to organize the process of solving a problem. Now, in the industry or the experience with Dow, I've been involved with valve issues, instrumentation issues, many different pumps, gas turbines, steam turbines, pressure vessels, design of equipment repair. You know, like, okay, we have this problem, now we need to install a new valve here, and this is going to be the new material of construction for that valve. This is going to be the new spec for that valve. I want this valve with this, and this characteristic. And I've been part of many scenarios doing that. And the part that I think is very important of my day-to-day is collaboration, right? As a mechanical engineer, you have a very open range to work on every single role you're on. Now, it is important that you work with many people, and that's something I do every day at Dow. I work with people with engineering, production, and sometimes I even reach out to the people doing projects, you know, the people designing stuff to help us through all the problems, suppliers, and there's many people that I have to talk to within time to time on my daily stuff. Now, the best thing about my job is that I like it first. I think that's the most important thing, but that's my personal part. The two things that I wanted to talk about, and I put them here, is the ability to work on many different scenarios in a short period of time, and that's more the maintenance engineer role, right? It's a role where the problem came on right now, and you need to try to safely fix that problem as quick as possible. Now, this involves a lot of people. Sometimes this involves a lot of support, and having that opportunity is something I enjoyed a lot, right? Trying to get from, okay, we're at point B now, but we need to be back on point A. So getting from here to here is what I enjoy about my job every day. The other thing, and I want to be very honest, the bachelor is just the beginning. On some careers, when I was in y'all's position, I had the idea that going to college was going to prepare me to execute my job for 30 years. And I was honestly scared to learn how to do something on my last year at college and then execute the same thing all over again for 30 years. Now, when I was in engineering school, I realized this is not going to take me 5 years to learn. This is going to be a whole learning journey throughout the years to actually get down to all the knowledge I need. Now, it's a never stop story. It's a never ending story. You're constantly learning. And that's the other thing that I really enjoy a lot about this career or this type of job. Now, I do strongly recommend to keep on enjoying or keep on learning every single day throughout your career. Now, a few more things before we go. I want to answer what knowledge you need to become a mechanical engineer. So right now, if you're in high school, you're already graduated from high school, and you're kind of thinking about what to do, I want to let you know you need some math skills, you need some physics skills. Now, the most important thing you need is interest. And this is the real secret here. If you have interest for learning what exactly mechanical engineering is for, you're going to be successful. You're going to get down to the details of each problem or each class you take, and you're going to be successful. I can assure you that that was my case, right? I have a pretty long story that I'm not going to talk about, but the interest of me becoming a mechanical engineer was the key of my success career at college, and the good things that I have been able to do after I graduated. Now, COVID-19, things like this will affect pretty much any job in the industry or any industry in general. So it all depends where you're located at. In my case, I've been working pretty much normal, a little bit adjusted, right, with the time we expose ourselves to other people at work, social distancing. I have to deal with a lot of my support roles that I talked to y'all about on previous slides. Some of that people that used to work with me out in the field, now they're over the phone, and I need to go call them, take pictures, and show them. If I was a support role, that you could well be another type of role, and not necessarily a maintenance engineer, which is my role within the Dow Chemical. I probably will be right here looking at someone else from my computer, trying to help them solve the problem while they're out on the unit or out on the plant working. So pretty much today's technology will openly allow us to do anything we want from home, or the majority of the things we want from home on this type of field, right? On engineering. Now, I don't have any other comment about COVID-19, but that's pretty much my experience, right? Now, I want to open the section for Q&A. I think Raquel did mention that it's going to be an open question on the chat. I see one in here that says, could I be able to get a job in mechanical engineering as an entry-level job, even if I have a bachelor in psychology? Well, I wouldn't think so, because you probably need the classes, you know, the background, or some sort of background in mechanical engineering per se. Now, if you have a bachelor in psychology, you already know what college is like. You already have probably all the basic classes, so it probably will take you nothing but 3 years or 2 years and a half, 3 years, depending how many classes you already took in college that are going to be accounted for mechanical engineering. And I would strongly suggest get on the car, go to a college, keep social distancing, and try to get an orientation and go through that process. Now, does anyone has any other question on the phone? Y'all can send it over through the chat. So I'm getting a question here. What extracurricular activities do I suggest for high school students to take? There is a lot of camps. I'm not aware of any camp or any summer camp within the Crossroads area, but most of the colleges, they offer summer camps for students that are pretty much from 11th to 12th grade, and those are pretty good opportunities. Now, there is a lot of good resources in those summer camps where you can go and see what engineering is. I will strongly suggest trying to find someone that is within the field. In my case, I did not have that opportunity when I was in high school. I did not even had anyone within my neighborhood area that was an engineer, but this one guy, that he was a civil engineer. Now, I had the mentality, right, that everyone was a civil engineer back then, but try to reach out and look for people that are within the industry, maybe relatives, maybe a friend of someone within the family, and try to reach out to that people and do it more personal, right? Ask more questions, try to get more input. Now, what soft skills are needed for someone within your role? Now, soft skills, it all depends. The range, like I said, and I probably said that 1,000 times in this presentation, the range of opportunities for a mechanical engineer is pretty large. Now, the soft skills, it all depends, right? If you want to do a support role out on a plant, that means interacting with people. You probably want to have the ability, you know, to talk to people, be open, do presentations, call people on the phone, on other locations, and be open to right talk. Now, be people person type skills are probably more aligned to a support role out on a plant. Now there is design roles where you probably don't like that interaction much, or don't like to talk on public speaking type situation, or don't like to present to people. Now there's a lot of support roles out there where you can work on a computer, and actually my work within the engineering company was very individual type contributor role, where I was working by myself on a computer pretty much the whole day, designing stuff and doing analysis. And my interaction with people was just like, okay, now the architect needs a room this large, and I would tell the architect how big the air conditioning was going to be for that room, that sort of thing. So it all depends where you go. So I think actually mechanical engineering will allow you to choose exactly what you want. One thing I forgot to mention, keep also in mind which area you want to live on, right? If you want to live within the Gulf Coast area, near the coast, probably a mechanical engineer role will allow you to a lot different, to a lot of different companies and opportunities. Now, if you want to live within the Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth area, New York, or Austin area, maybe information systems or type of programming and stuff is probably what you want, right? So now keep that in mind too. Mechanical engineering opportunities are pretty much everywhere, but they could be limited depending, or there could be a limit depending where you go. Now I got a couple other questions here. So physical skills, not really much. It's just the basic ones, right? Just be able to do whatever you can, depending on your personal limitations. I think there's no physical skill per se that will be needed for a mechanical engineer. Anyone can perform that. Absolutely. There's a question here that is very key and important, and the question is, can accommodations be made for someone with disabilities? I look normal, but I have to say I had arthritis, or I still have arthritis. And when I was going through college, a few years before I went through college, and I was in high school, I had to use a wheelchair at some point because I could not even walk. And through my years in college, I went through a very deep treatment for my arthritis, and it was a severe arthritis. So I was able to perform my internships. In college, I had some accommodations. Now, as a professional, companies nowadays, they offer you the opportunities or the adjustments you need to perform your job well. Now, any physical disability or limitation is not really a limitation for you to become a mechanical engineer and be successful. Absolutely not. Okay, I got another question. So this is probably one of my favorite questions here. What advice will you give to a female student who is interested in becoming an engineer? It's still a male-dominated industry, in my opinion. I would say no, there's not such a thing. There's probably a statistics number that says, oh yeah, the majority of them are male, but I will strongly suggest for a female, like a male as well, to go to engineering school. There's not such a thing, and I think there is a wide range of opportunities for any female engineer, like for a male engineer. So it don't really matter. I will do encourage to go to college. There is a lot of good if you have kind of like challenges because you feel it's going to be a tough field full of male, putting it that way, making it less informal. There's a lot of good resources in colleges, associations, and things that you can be associated with that are going to help you. They're going to give you tools for that. There's a lot of different associations, even in companies, big companies like Dow. They have their own groups to support this type of concerns, right? People that is concerned just because it's a male-dominated industry, which is not something that I honestly think. Now, there's another question. So I already went to the disability. I honestly will reinforce again, there's another question here about disabilities. There's no really a big limitation. You can do it as long as you have the interest and the passion for it and you like it and you want to enjoy it, you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to be successful being a mechanical engineer in any role in any industry you choose. Now, are internships or co-ops available for this career? Absolutely. I did a couple of internships, and there is always a lot of opportunities. Big companies like Dow, the Boeing company, General Motors, Toyota Manufacturing, which is the car manufacturing company, and I'm sure a ton of local companies that will offer internships and co-ops, and they are very good opportunities. And I do want to say this is probably the most important thing to do when you're in college. Expose yourself to the career field. Now, the other question here, is it required to be a registered professional engineer to become a mechanical engineer? It could be, right? On my day-to-day job at Dow, I do not need to be a professional engineer. All it means, a professional engineer means that you have a license, that you hold a Texas registered engineering license, and you can sign on paperwork saying, I have the power and authority to approve this design or this equipment or this particular engineering solution for this problem. Here's my number, yada, yada, yada. Now, 90% of the jobs out in the industry, or probably 95, I'm just making up a number, they probably won't require you such a thing. Now, if you want to work on the industry where I worked before, the architects and engineering type scenario, there you need probably that license, because you're dealing with a customer and you're designing something that goes either on a house or commercial or industrial facility. And because all the safety and rules and things around the government, maybe the license is going to be required. Now, I don't see any other question here, but I just do want to reinforce two things before we go. There is no limitation if you're a female. I think the opportunities are there if you feel challenged because you're a female. Again, there is a lot of support out there, organizations and associations that you can be part of, and they're going to help you, as well as disabilities. There's not such a thing like a disability is going to put a limitation on things you can do. I think it's more up here. I think all of us can make that call of, okay, I want to get to point C, and physically probably, you can't go to point B, but you can find your way to get to point C, and I can assure you, you can do it. It's all up here. Just work for it, get the help you need, and you'll be successful. So now, before we go, I do wish y'all have one more question or anything else. Otherwise, Raquel, it's all yours.
Yes, if anyone has any questions for Mr. Figueroa, please address them at this time. With nothing in the chat box, I appreciate everyone logging in. Thank you, Edwin, for your time and dedication to providing us with this great information. You all stay safe, stay healthy. If you think of something that you want to address at a later time, please feel free to email me and I will relay the message to Mr. Figueroa. Once again, thank you, and you all have a good day.